All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now heading towards our next session of the day, which is a fireside chat on global expansion made easy, Payoneer standalone. And for this chat, may we now please have on the stage Lead Direct Sales, B2B Services, Ms. Sapna Dandona. Ms. Sapna is a part of Payoneer's go-to-market team and leads B2B services for India. She is responsible for engaging and growing large accounts for key cross-border payment products in the region. With over 10 years of experience, Ms. Sapna carries deep expertise in transaction banking and fintech. Pleasure.
Hi, everybody. I think today's all been about celebrating the new age e-commerce and the Gen Z entrepreneurs and the entire ecosystem that really facilitates India's growth story. So it's only fitting and it's only right that we talk about taking our businesses to the world and global expansion. The session now is going to be about the challenges which are faced by small businesses around selling globally with a special focus on demystifying payments. My name is Sapna Dandona. I head sales for Payoneer India. And what we do and what we've been doing for close to 2 decades is unlocking a universe of opportunities to the world. Can we have the presentation, please? Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about cross-border payments, right? What are cross-border payments? They sound extremely complicated, right? They are worse than how they actually sound. Simply put, any time you make a payment outside of our domestic borders is what qualifies as a cross-border payments. So any kind of foreign exchange, any time you're making any kind of remittance outside of India, that qualifies as a cross-border payment. Now, let's say you are a small business and you have identified the right buyers and the right platforms, the right logistic partners, and the right markets to sell your product, right? What do you do next? The first obvious thing for you to do is to get an import-export code from the DGFT. The next thing that you're probably going to do is check about the product and the compliances around the product depending on the country that you are planning to export to, right? So let's say, for example, you're planning to export to the US, then you need some additional certifications, something like an importer on record. That's just one example, but there are certain compliances that you need to make sure that you have depending on the line of business you're in. The next thing that you're going to do is that you're going to go to your bank, right, for a AD code because there will be a challenge for you in terms of receiving payments globally. Now, while there's a sea of information which is available online on how to get started or how to get enlisted on all of these seller platforms like Etsy, Walmart, eBay, Amazon Global, but when it comes to receiving payments, you might say, hey, I have a bank, right? I'm with XYZ Bank. It's one of the top banks in India. Let me speak to my relationship manager. How difficult is getting a foreign remittance? I have a bank. The bank gives me a SWIFT code. I can simply ask my buyer outside of India to give me a wire transfer. So this is typically where the learning curve with respect to payments starts for a small business. Can we move on? Can we move on to the next slide, please? So now these are some of the methods, right? These are some of the payment methods which exist when you start expanding your business outside of India. The most obvious answer would be wire transfers, right? Like I said, that your bank will give you a SWIFT code basis which your buyer can make a transfer to you in your Indian domestic bank. But again, all of these products or all of these modes of payments come with their own set of challenges, right? Now for a wire transfer, let's talk about a wire transfer. Again, the experience here differs depending on the size of your business and the kind of relationship that you've had in past with these banks. The level of service, I would say, is extremely different, right? So there are very small sellers who've had not a great experience with their banking partners when they start their cross-border journey. And of course, there are slightly bigger setups, right, who already have an existing relationship. They have a dedicated relationship manager. They have a larger relationship with the bank in terms of float, in terms of lending products, and there the level of service is extremely different. So the point being that no two businesses have the same experience, even with the top banks, when it comes to cross-border payments. In wire transfers, what we've heard our sellers say is that, let's say you have somebody in the US who wants to make a wire transfer to you, right? they will have to first go to their bank in the US and then also incur a huge amount of fee in making a USD to INR transfer. So we've heard cases like where somebody is just trying to make a $1,000 payment and they have to pay about $50 in terms of the remittance fee. So it turns out to be extremely expensive for your seller. And then the other part of the journey is that when this money hits your Indian bank account, right, banks tend to charge you, which is the FX fee plus their own convenience fee. So the entire transaction turns out to be extremely expensive. And God forbid if the payment gets stuck anywhere. Right? So there have been cases when your buyer outside of India is going to tell you that, hey, I've made a payment, have you not received the payment? And you'll keep following up with your domestic bank. But there are just so many moving parts in a cross-border transaction that customer service, again, becomes a very, very big challenge. And we all know how timely payments is important to us. How Payoneer solves this particular problem is something that I'll come to later. The other alternative, which maybe a bank is not going to give you, is that when in the US or maybe in other countries like Canada, UK, Europe, the preferred mode of payment is not even wire transfers. People typically tend to do wire transfers when the amount of payment is slightly large. Usually they prefer making online payments, right? They would want to use a debit card or a credit card to make a payment to you. Again, this is something that not a lot of Indian banks provide, right? So having enough and more mode of payments becomes the other problem statement. And I think the large problem statement, we can move to the next slide, please. The last problem statement becomes documentation. Now, don't get me wrong, banking in India, frankly, is not all that bad, right? We are one of the leaders when it comes to banks and fintech in the world. But when it comes to foreign exchange, the experience is broken. Like I said, it's not consistent. Two different businesses will have a very different experience with their bankers. But again, the experience is broken. It requires a lot of paperwork. A lot of this is offline, where you will have to make a lot of visits to your branch, right, to get a lot of compliances knocked off. And again, it proves to be extremely expensive. Mostly where sellers struggle is something called a FIRC, a foreign inward remittance certificate, right? This is something that banks don't usually tend to digitize, and you have to kind of complete the entire loop of payments. You have to physically go to a bank, kind of chase after them, and get this particular certificate, which is what your CA needs to mark or to complete a particular payment that you receive from outside of India. Can you move on? Now, these are all the problems that we spoke about, right? So now, what is the solution to these problems, or who should be your ideal payment partner in the journey to take your business global? Now, an ideal partner for you should not work only like a banker, but should work like a trusted advisor, right? Who is not only helping you in a very transactional way, but also kind of walking with you every step of the journey, as in when your business is scaling, right? And I think somewhere we also expect our bankers to kind of give us a lot of expertise, because they are, after all, the experts in terms of foreign exchange. This is also where Payoneer can help you. What we do is that we kind of tend to take a business through the entire life cycle, whether they have an Indian entity, or let's say in future when they scale up and they decide to set up an entity outside of India. Now, let's talk about what are the typical use cases that a business can have, right? There is definitely a collection use case. Let's say I'm a seller on Amazon.com. How do I get the best FX rate from Amazon? That's one part of the problem statement. Second, do I have an alternate to wire transfers? Because wire transfers, as we discussed, can be slightly problematic. How do I really portray my business as global, right? I have sellers in the US, I have sellers in the UK. How do I kind of establish that legitimacy that I've been doing this for a while and I am a trusted partner, right? So how Payoneer comes in is that we give you local bank accounts in 10 plus currencies. Sitting in India without having an entity outside of India, we can give you USD local accounts, Canadian local accounts in Euro, GBP, and similarly 10 major currencies of the world, right? So your collection part of the business is resolved. The second problem that we solve is we give you digital FIRCs. So digital FIRCs is that the moment you receive a payment through Payoneer, there is a document that gets uploaded on your portal within 7 days. So you don't have to chase a bank, you don't have to chase after a person, you don't have to chase after customer support. Everything is available to you in a single dashboard. And the third problem statement that we spoke about was, what if I want to collect payments through, let's say, a credit card or a debit card? We have a solution where you can simply upload an invoice, send a payment request to your client sitting anywhere in the world, and they can use their debit or credit card, any network that they are possibly on, right? It could be Master, it could be Visa, it could be Discover, it could be diners, anything. They can make a payment to you within a click of a button. And again, in terms of customer service, since we are experts, right? We don't do 10 things. We are experts in cross-border payments. So again, it is our responsibility to collect your payment from any part of the world and get it safely delivered to you into your Indian bank account. Now, let's say you've crossed this first step, right? You've already started exporting outside of India. The next logical step for you would be to expand your business outside of India. What if you want to set up a foreign entity? Right? Who do you speak to? There'll probably be a lawyer that you'll have to speak to. There'll have to be a tax consultant. There'll have to be somebody who has expertise in incorporation services outside of India. What we also do for our partners is we've established an entire ecosystem. We have an extremely strong partner network who can help you in each of these steps. And how we help you in payments, like I said, that any leg of the transaction, it could be collections, it could also be payouts. Let's say you have some consultant outside of India, right, who's getting you all the business, who's getting you supplier information. You can make payments to people across the world in 150 plus currencies. You can hold Forex in 10 odd currencies indefinitely. And you also get access to virtual cards. So if you're promoting your business on, let's say, a Facebook, you have AWS servers where you're hosting your website, all of those payments can be made using a virtual card that Payoneer issues to you. We can move to the next slide, please. While e-commerce platforms are great for discovery, right? We've seen a lot of sellers and we've been a part of their journey. They start selling on Amazon.com and eventually they also get discovered by global buyers and eventually they move on to their own D2C website, right? And that's when the other requirement will come, when you have a lot of traffic from outside of India. Typically, D2C platforms in India, they start with domestic payment gateway platforms, right? And they, of course, do a great job. We have leading payment gateway providers like Razorpays, Cashfrees, Payus of the world. But the moment you take your business international and you're getting a lot of traffic from outside of India, then again, there is a need of having an international payment gateway provider who gives you the best-in-class success rate, who is able to solve your chargeback problems, and at the same time, who gives you favorable settlement periods, favorable, rolling reserves. They do it in a way that is cost effective and at the same time give you great customer service. And not, when I say great customer service, I just don't mean a chatbot, right? Or speaking to somebody who's sitting in the US, but somebody who is in India and who can kind of help you in every step of the way. Okay, so now this is a little bit about us. For those of you who don't know us already, we are the preferred partners for Amazon. So anybody selling on Amazon.com, the global platform, would have definitely heard about us. We are the official partners for Walmart and eBay, right? If you're registered on any of these platforms, you first need to create a Payoneer virtual address. And we've been doing this for almost 2 decades now. We started our business in 2005. We are now NASDAQ listed. We have employees across 18 countries. We have more than 2,500 employees across India. And we deal in over 200 currencies, right? And we currently have more than 4 million users, which are SMBs as well as large clients just who started exactly like you. So this is the slide that we love. We love to talk about this. These are our customers. So Airbnb in India, all these hosts that you would have heard about, they use the Payoneer platform to get paid. Like I said, Amazon, Google, Apple, anybody who has a mass payout requirement where they want to make payments across geographies to hundreds and thousands of people, we are the preferred partner of choice. We'll just end this session with a small video about our happy customers because we believe that we are only as good as our most unhappy customers. So here's a little voice of customer for you.
I'm Shivanath Devinarayan, founder and CEO of Daysworks. We are a Platinum Salesforce partner headquartered in Kochi. Daysworks was born out of a vision of transforming businesses. When we started out, there was no set template of success that we could follow. Our mantras for success and happy customers is having the right people for every job. Our journey started with a small team of 2 members in a co-working space in Kochi, and currently we are spread across 4 continents with multiple offices. In our successful journey, there are many partners who have played a significant role. These are silent performers who help spin our wheels of success. Payoneer has been one such partner for us who's been delivering seamless and worry-free cross-border commerce solutions to us. Payoneer's global payment solution has helped us deliver much better customer experience to our clients worldwide. Today, when we give them local receiving accounts across US, UK, Australia, Canada, it makes international transactions very simple and convenient by enabling them to pay locally. I remember a recent incident that happened where we had to change our local receiving bank, and we were able to do this with a simple click of a button, which was a hassle-free experience for both us and our customers. The support of the FIC documentation for firms like us who do business across borders, now they've made it automated and easily downloadable. Their personalized account manager helps us proactively to make sure that we are successful and guides us with their expertise on international payments, which makes our life much easier. I recommend all IT consultants who want to make a name for themselves to forge a strong relationship with Payoneer like we have.
Thanks a lot. In case any of you missed us, we are right outside on the left. We've got a counter. Alternatively, you can scan this QR code. I'll be happy to meet some of you outside in case you have any questions or let's say in the future you want to be in touch. Thanks a lot.